Hello, my name's Jorb. I love gear. This past weekend was Knobcon number 9. Knobcon is a synthesizer convention that takes place in Schaumburg, Illinois, organized by Suit and Tie Guy. Suit and Tie Guy is very active in the synth community and has his own line of modules with STG Sound Labs, I believe Moog Format and Eurorack, and I talked about the Eurorack with Moot Booksley. If you're a denizen of the synth internet, there's a good chance you've seen Moot Booksley. Incredible player and a wonderful guy. But I'm already off track. Knobcon is a synthesizer convention in a bunch of dimensions. There are exhibitor booths where you can see companies like ASM or Innovation demoing gear, and you can go try stuff that without buying one, or if you live in a place that doesn't have shops that keep synthesizers, here's your opportunity. There's electronic music performances. There were two concurrent rooms with performances one of the nights. I saw some wonderful people make wonderful music on very cool synth setups. There are lectures by people like Mark Doty and Ricky Tinez and Soon Tai Guy himself talking about specific products, their setups, synthesizer history, really everything related to this hobby that I and probably you watching are very, very passionate about. And I wanted a good way to recap it, because if I just say, my good friend Ryan came with me, he helped me film, and I'm going to link his SoundCloud below because he makes some very cool synthwave type music. For me to just say, Ryan helped me film, and I saw Will and Jenny, who mean a lot to me, and I don't see them enough, and to meet Matt Baxley, Moot Booksley for the second time, to just list these things off, like, doesn't do it justice. And I got to try the Hydrosynths and a peek and a bunch of vintage stuff at the Centaur booth. I don't think it's valuable for me to just list those things off and say, look how much fun I had. I want to make it about the community. I want to make it about the interaction that's so special, because you watching this right now and my subscribers and anybody who comments are really, truly, you are one of those connections for me. You are part of that community aspect for me. To have conversations about gear that you love and synthesizers in general and electronic music and all those things. And I sort of stumbled into a great way to handle that. Ted Stahl from channel Forlorn Synths of Yore approached me the first night because he'd recognized me from YouTube, and we had chatted on Facebook a few times and in my YouTube comments, and we had a wonderful conversation the first night. We had a lot of things in common, a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to build off of from each other, and he asked if we could sit down for an interview on the last day. We talked for maybe an hour and a half, and we each filmed. That has given me a great chance to sort of recap Knobcon in a way that really conveys the community aspect. And it really relates to one of the things I'm most proud of on this channel is people asking questions and people answering each other and people making suggestions for me and whoever else reads that comment. I'm incredibly proud of that community aspect of this whole interaction. And sitting down with somebody who I met through this hobby only at Knobcon, I think portrays that in a really, truly, in a really genuine way. So I chopped maybe the first half of our interview down to just 10 minutes, and that's going to follow my introduction here, where Ted and I talk pretty generally about the community and Knobcon and things like that. But we got really specific, really into the weeds about some particular hardware and the importance of a good interface. And if you want to watch more of the interview, I don't know if they'll put the entire thing up, but they'll probably put up more than me. I'll link to Forlorn Synths of Yore, their channel, and if the video's up, the video specifically. But I hope that that's what you get from this, is that there's a wonderful community around what we care about. And the internet's a great place to foster that, and Facebook is a good place to foster that, and YouTube is a great place to foster that. But really being around those people is sensational, and being able to have a shared experience and listen to music and, and talk about gear in person with people that will get it is truly thrilling. So here's my excerpts from that interview. I really hope you enjoy it.
My name's Ted Stahl. I'm with Forlorn Synths of Yore, and we're here. Do you want to go by your given
I
name?
am Josh,
Okay.
but I go by Jorb. My channel is Jorb Loves Gear.
Because he loves gear?
Because I love gear. I'm probably going to use this as a wrap-up video for Knobcon.
That's awesome.
At least the first half of it. So there might be shots right now, beautiful B-roll of us walking in, or beautiful B-roll of the stage, or the floor where all the exhibitors are at, things like that. But
Or some of the performances.
some of the performances, yep.
No, we're here to talk about some of the wonderment that is loving synthesizers and sharing that experience with others. and how Knobcon is such a beautiful environment to get connected with people that have that shared interest and to be able to reaffirm within each other what we love about the instruments, and that it really comes back to the music, and that music is by its very nature communication, and how this is all just a love fest for people that appreciate the instruments and appreciate the ability to connect with one another. And it's one of the things that I picked up watching Josh's videos. Josh is a teacher, and I like to think of myself as a teacher too. But when we discover things with our instruments, we're busting to share that with other people, and we want other people to enjoy what we've discovered.
Agreed.
And to be able to say, I know this is really fun and really cool, and you may not have known that this could do this.
Yeah, that's part of what I even started doing was, the MPC 1000 I realized is a great MIDI sequencer. And nobody told me that before I bought it. That's not why I bought it. But I realized after using it and getting comfortable with it, man, this is perfect for the way I want to perform and write things live. And I had to share that with people.
You're
had
compelled.
to sit down. So that's the first video, and it's actually done quite well since. But where I was like, okay, I'm going to take this YouTube thing seriously because I just wanted to share that. And Knobcon is a great example of the people around here will understand that. The people understand not just the compulsion to talk about it, but specifically, I love gear, and so does everybody else who's here. We can have these conversations about stuff that's very, very important to us and won't mean anything to 85% of the people in our lives.
It's true. My wife, she puts up with me, and she loves me for who I am, and knows that this means a lot to me.
Yes.
And she respects that.
That is the bottom line, yeah.
And I'm grateful to have a relationship like that.
Good.
But the fact is that you're right. There are a lot of people that
don't get it.
Fortunately, the result of our affection for gear and our insight and our need to communicate is music.
Right.
And music is that language that everyone understands, even if they can't speak it. And at that point, music being the outcome, we become inclusive with the other 85% that didn't get the behind-the-scenes stuff, but appreciated that.
But for us, we're excited the music's coming from a hydrosynth. We're excited the music's coming from Prologue, whatever it is.
That multi-layered appreciation. It's like an onion or a cake.
We like music, and we like gear, and we like the people who are performing it.
Exactly.
All these reasons to love this experience.
All of those layers. So we appreciate it on all those levels.
Yes, and that's the stuff about Knobcon that the first time we were leaving, it was like a sensation. You know what I mean? I've never been surrounded by people that get it, quote unquote. Everybody here. Like Moog means something to them, you know what I mean? And they understand this love, this passion. And that's what I'm glad we're sitting here to talk about. Because it's something that's hard to express on my own. A lot of my videos are me sitting down talking to the proverbial second person, but being able to sit down and talk to somebody about the importance of this connection and the importance of getting in a room full of people who know what you know, that's why Knobcon's so cool.
It's true, because we can be excited on our own, and we can feel compelled to share what we know and teach. But when you actually see the expression on someone's face as you're talking about something and their eyes widen, and Josh and I had a conversation Friday night, first night, and I approached him, I'm like, Josh? Because we'd never met each other face to face before. And he's like, yes. It's a Jorb. It's like, yeah. And can I sit down? Can we talk? And he was like, sure. And that conversation, both of us at different points were saying things, and the other person's eyes were just like, exactly,
Because it was just the one time you mentioned, what's a good example, but we were talking about, some specific piece of gear. You mentioned the Nord Lead 2, or I mentioned the Nord Lead 2,
Nord Lead 2 and
Nord Lead 3. All these things that I have so much built-up experience and so much built-up perception of and opinions of, and why it's cool and why it works for me and things like that. Somebody else has the exact same journey with maybe a similar piece of gear or a different piece of gear, and we can really easily make those connections here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that, just over and over. Oh yeah, I've had one of those, or those impressed me, or oh, what's cool about that is this interface, and on and on and on. Just so much stuff that you have in common with everybody who comes to a place like this.
Exactly, and yet,
thrilling.
As much as we have in common, we do have those areas that are unique to each of us. And once you realize, and I'm going to use the term kindred spirit, because, I think we all are, but I think you and I really related and bonded on a certain level there because we're approaching it from a teaching, learning, sharing standpoint as well as an appreciation for the gear.
Yeah.
Trying to create those connections and understanding and recognizing when we have the shared experience and then we have the additional things that each of us uniquely know, that ability to enhance and grow your own experience
Right.
through somebody else's experience whom you respect.
Yeah, and even just knowing your base level of any other topic, knowing the right questions to ask, and extract more from you, you know what I mean? To, oh, that's a different enough experience where you've tried a different keyboard, or, you know, you make music like this, I make music like this, to extract those extra bits about what makes people
Absolutely.
unique is another great part about this.
Right, and like you said, that's something you do really well is knowing,
Thank you.
okay, you said this.
What can I connect it to?
Does that mean that applies to this instrument too?
Yeah.
And because you said you had experience with that, and that just to be able to expand upon those things and shed light into corners that otherwise we couldn't.
Right.
Because you come from a pretty small town.
Yeah.
I come from a medium small town, and unfortunately, we were talking about this before as well, and the guitar centers in my town don't carry Moog.
No.
They
Mine
don't.
doesn't have any synthesizers.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's
A
called
few-
Guitar Center. Why would we have a synthesizer?
A few digital
yeah,
pianos, but that's about it.
right.
And so YouTube ends up being the way to
That's
experience these things.
The only way that we
Yeah.
have to see this new stuff that
Right.
otherwise wouldn't, or even older stuff.
There's exhibitor booths here, and I can sit down, just like you said, Guitar Center might not have anything. I can sit down and try anything that's here, and people are more than willing to talk about it, and they
Because
know I have a
they
base
want
level of
to teach
knowledge.
too. They love sharing that.
Yeah, the exhibitors here, it's either their product, and of
Right.
course they're
So
passionate about
yeah,
that.
they're
or it's-
selling it.
Right, or it's somebody whose job to do it, and they're doing it because they love it. They're
Yes.
here because they care. You know, you don't get a job demonstrating without caring about gear a little bit.
Yeah, it's
You're
not like,
into it.
you know, I could have done this, or I could be flipping burgers, and I got 5 cents extra an hour to do this. Okay, whatever.
Right.
No, it's you're
This is a
drawn to
passion.
it.
For everybody
Exactly.
here, it's a passion. For a suit and tie guy to put it on, and for the exhibitors as well. And it's enabling other people's creativity in the same way that that's why I do what I do on YouTube. I want to share these things that I've discovered or have these conversations and say, has
Absolutely.
somebody else come to the same result? And it's all about enabling creativity for myself and other people. I really do love that about this environment. I really do love that about the way YouTube and Synths and things work anymore.
Absolutely.
Because it is a community of people figuring these things out together and discovering these things together. And
And it is its own reward. It is not, I'm doing this because I want to make money, or I'm doing this because I'm
no, because
trying
I
to
do
get.
not.
No, it's not profitable for us in any way, shape, or form. But we love it, and we love connecting with people and then helping them to learn things that we've learned and experience those things and understand those and help shine the light on their path a little bit. And they're going to discover things that they'll be able to share with us
Yeah.
that we didn't discover because
Yeah.
they're going to choose a slightly different path. And we all benefit from that.
And a totally like more concrete but very precise example of somebody introducing you to a new thing, right? A new concept, whatever. Suit and tie guy did I think it was an Instagram post talking about Roland's SK88 Pro, a sound canvas with a keyboard.
Right.
And then I bought one. And I mentioned him in the video, and he commented on the video to say, hey, thanks for the shout out. I'm glad you thought it was beautiful too, because I do. And then here we are at Knobcon. Part of Matt Baxley's rig was an SK88 Pro. And so here's this very clear line. Suit and tie guy talks to Matt. I see what suit and tie guy puts on the internet. Now we all have this love of one particular object, one particular piece of gear that spread from people having conversations, spread from people
Exactly.
sharing what they love.
And Suit and Tie Guy also on his performance rig had the small sound canvas, so he had the same
yes.
sound set
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there
yeah.
to himself. But the love was there in his rig as well as Matt
Yes,
Baxley's.
yes, side by side.
Absolutely. No,
Wonderful.
it's that connection and those waves of impact that we have on each other and that reflection that allows all of us to benefit from the knowledge and experience of each other.
Truly, truly. And that's why Knobcon is cool.
That is
Everybody wants
one
to
of
have
many
that
reasons,
conversation.
but that is I think that's the big thing.
Yes.
And like you said, the ability to experience instruments that otherwise we wouldn't be able to touch.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we had a couple vendors this time that actually had vintage gear,
Yeah.
not just new things, but things that
Are
things that
inaccessible to me.
yeah,
I got to
like
play a
like a
Jupiter 8.
Jupiter 8, exactly.
I can't, I not only did I meet the guys from Centaur, and they're wonderful, and their storefront is a wonderful service for people like me trying to fix stuff, but they brought a Jupiter 8,
Yeah,
and they had it out just to try. Because to them, it is about sharing that. Sure, Centaur also wants you to buy the parts to fix it,
sure,
but they brought it for us
but
to
they
try.
brought us and they allowed us
and
to
the conversations
actually,
you have. Yeah, it sounded like that. No.
It did. Well, if the right patch, I think one of the voices. No, just kidding.
Yeah. And that's the conversation you have with them.
Oh,
Isn't this
absolutely.
cool, right?
Yes.
Not, I can't wait to buy the capacitor I need to replace, whatever in mine. This is a cool part of our history and something we have impressions of, and now we get to sit here and talk about it over the actual thing. There's a Prophet 5 behind you and an OB8 below that. That's
And then
amazing.
The Andromeda 6.
Yes, yeah. Which
And
I hadn't ever played before, and here it was.
There it was. And they had they had a JD800. They didn't have it out today, but they had it out
Yeah, I remember
yesterday.
that.
And
So there you go. Ted and I continued to talk specifically about hardware and interface and repairing things, the gear that we love, the things that work for us, all sorts of stuff. I hint at some future plans for this YouTube channel. I'm very tired still, can you tell? I'm on lunch break from my day job the Tuesday after we got back from Knobcon. This is my way to say thank you to you, my subscribers. You're really my slice of this community. And in a lot of ways, you're the people I get to talk to about one of the most important things in my life. So thank you so much. I'm actually crying. Knobcon was amazing. Fuck. Anyway, Knobcon was amazing, and I hope I gave you a slice of that. I really do love this community, and this passion brings me so much. So thanks for watching. My name's Jorb. I love gear. See you in the next one.